Akufo member will show down. Vice President member will show down. So Mama chasing me agent. I'm not going to shut them. What do you embassy? What do you embassy? Yes. Me challenge the President Akufo anytime. President Akufo member will show down. Vice President member.
And tonight, be mindful of your conduct and utterances. The caution from the New Patriotic Party as it drags some aggrieved members of the party before the election committee for allegedly launching scathing attacks on leading members of the governing New Patriotic Party.
We have taken it upon ourselves that from what we have heard in the social media, we are inviting certain personalities, any aspirant who would make it his own bona fide of waging war against the party will be sanctioned.
And just 48 hours after the party's special delegates conference, all presidential aspirants are expected to hold a crunch meeting on matters arising. And Top Story, as always, is brought to you by Vodafone. Further together, I am blessed to go. And tonight, Joy News is learning that some members of the governing New Patriotic Party will be facing possible sanctions for allegedly launching scathing attacks on leading members of the New Patriotic Party if they fail to adduce sufficient evidence to back their public utterances, which the NPP considers as anti-party conduct. Over the last 48 hours, the party has been on tenterhooks following the outbreaks of at least two presidential aspirants who are all alleged that some serious infractions took place which marked the integrity of the special delegates conference of the governing New Patriotic Party, which is aimed at shortlisting 5 out of 10 individuals contesting to be the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. Today, though, the elections committee of the party says it has taken notice of such acts contained in videos which have since gone viral on social media and will accordingly sanction any individual who goes on a warpath with the party. My colleague Richard Kojinyako has been monitoring, of course, fallouts from the Special Delegates Conference. Joins us in studio for us to take a look at it once more in the context within which the party is making these pronouncements now. And Richard, let's start off first off with the major issues revolving around the presidential aspirants themselves, because over the weekend we saw at least 2 of them raising concerns about the happenings pre, post, and even during the election. So let's start with Mr. Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong, right? Because he's one of the 10 aspirants contesting the elections. What did we see transpire over the weekend?
So what transpired basically was that Mr. Kennedy Ohene-Agyapong was at the polling center in Cape Coast, that is the University of Cape Coast Quadrangle, and was seen on his phone, with some effusions saying that he's promising a showdown between him, the president, and the vice president over what he says were the lockup of some of his agents.
And we know that in the last few hours, even as the party says it may be inviting some individuals, he's likely to be on that list. His camp has been holding a press conference reacting to some of the claims. It appears that they even brought the supposed individual who was attacked allegedly by the Kennedy Agyapong camp. What more do we know?
Well, so what we do know is that an agent belonging to Alan Chiramantin was attacked in the northeast region, and I think that really brought up all of these confusion that we are talking about. And so he's been part of the people that have been mentioned in the list the MPP has put out for them to appear before the party.
The committee. And earlier today, his camp has been addressing some of the matters, including the alleged attack on one of the agents.
Of a meeting, of an interview that was granted by Oladum Orchery, in which the chairman of the Shanti region of the New Patriotic party, my beloved party, was interviewed, and he made claims that it is Kwame Owusu, the campaign manager, who actually misinformed Honorable Ken of the events that were happening in Northeast region, the region of the Vice President. I want to put this straight, that Chama Wontumi lied. And why? Because Honorable Ken's message was captured in the morning before the noon. And the call was placed to him according to phone records by 10:39 to be exact.
And that's the account of the campaign manager.
Exactly, Kwame Owusu. I mean, explaining what really happened before Kennedy Japan had those interactions.
Because if you recall, the Ashanti regional chair of the party alleged that Kwame Owusu, the very campaign manager of Mr. Kennedy Japan, was the one who informed him, leading to that outburst.
So that has been the communication out there that he was the one Mr. Japan was on phone with.
And just after the start of today as well, there's another presidential aspirant equally raising concerns about the process. We know of the former Trade and Industry Minister, Alan Kojo-Tremating. What's his concern really about the process?
Well, he says that he's heard, or he's been briefed on the happenings as far as the Special Delegate Conference is concerned and the attacks and all of that. And he would organize, or at the appropriate time, he will come out with a position on it. I'm
grateful, Richard Kojo-Nyako, for giving us the latest. But in the last few hours, the New Patriotic Party says it's stepping up disciplinary action by inviting all of these anti-party commentators who have since been captured on videos that have gone viral on social media. We can now listen to the party's election committee member, Alexander Apenyo-Markin, who addressed the media on this matter a while ago.
Any party member, any aspirant, any agent who would make it his own bona fide of waging war against the party will be sanctioned. I specifically mean that no member should make it a point to attack any member, any leading member, any leader, merely for disagreeing with a particular matter. We have taken it upon ourselves that from what we have heard, seen in the social media, we are inviting certain personalities to appear before us for engagement. We want to hear them. We have heard of certain allegations in the media, although from Saturday up to this hour that the committee is addressing you, no formal complaint has come. But for the sake of the party's well-being, for the sake of the unity of the party, we have taken it upon ourselves to again say that all such individuals are to appear before us.
So on what grounds is the election committee of the NPP inviting these individuals? And do we even know the real identity of persons who will be appearing before that committee tomorrow? Let's bring in Director of Elections and Research for the New Patriotic Party, Mr. Evans Nimako, is joining us on Top Story tonight. Good evening to you, sir. Many thanks for spending some time with us here on Top Story. Have you confirmed the full list now of individuals you're expecting to appear before the committee tomorrow?
Well, thank you for having me, and good evening to your listeners. You should be aware that the New Patriotic Party has mandated the Presidential Elections Committee to conduct an exercise to enable the party elect our presidential candidate. We were able to successfully conduct our special electoral college on Saturday, 26th of this month. Out of the successful conduct of the exercise, there have been some, I'll say, low points, because we've also heard, as a committee, some comments by some of the presidential aspirant agents. And we cannot sit aloof. Mind you, this is an internal affair, it's a family affair. That notwithstanding, where people have expressed concerns, it is within the mandate of the Presidential Elections Committee to continuously engage all stakeholders. Mind you, our mandate has not ended. We still have November 4 general primaries to conduct with respect to the primaries for the 5 presidential candidates.
And I perfectly respect that. I perfectly respect that. But I'm asking the question as to the identities of the individuals you're hauling before the committee tomorrow. Have you confirmed the full list? And do we know who's making it onto that list, who you have officially invited to adduce evidence to the claims that were made?
We've invited all our presidential candidates tomorrow. We've invited those who engage the media with some concerns. I mean, and this list is not something that is not known to the public. You are aware that Mr. Boabia Samoa engaged the media, Mr. Hosni Adoye engaged the media, one Ralph of Ashanti region, our regional youth organizer, was engaged somehow. And so these are extensions the committee has given to all stakeholders. And so for tomorrow, the key thing is that the committee is meeting mainly with the presidential candidates and their agents who have engaged the media. And so it's not like we have list of 100 people we want to engage, but we know the key stakeholders who have expressed concern, and the committee is open to continuously engage with them to ensure that as a party we will come out of this whole exercise more united than ever to prosecute the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections.
I get the point. But when the member of your committee then addresses the press to say that these individuals that you have invited and you've cited their videos online, you would want them to adduce evidence to back their claims, is that to suggest that some sanctions may apply?
The committee will not hesitate to refer issues raised within our mandate to the party for consideration. We don't have the powers to sanction. We are a product of the National Council of the party. Our recommendation will go to the National Council, and whatever action the National Council will want to take on the report of the committee is open. We're saying that since we are a product of the Council of the party, our recommendation will go to the council. And then the council will have the authority, if you look into the constitution, to then take the next action.
Is that to suggest that nothing then would happen to any candidate or any of the individuals that you extend an invite to?
After the committee has gotten the opportunity to listen to both sides of the story, we will make a recommendation to the National Council of the party. I've already mentioned that this is a family affair. It's an MPP's internal elections, and where people have expressed concern, we will continue to engage and make appropriate recommendations to the party's National Council.
You seem to be towing a very soft line for this, when indeed some of the presidential aspirants are in fact questioning the processes leading to the election and even the very process itself. It's on the whole questioning even the integrity of your committee. For instance, when you take a look at the statement from Alan Kojo Chiramatin, he's lamenting the attack on one of his agents up north, which he says has the tendency or has even bloated the integrity of the exercise. It's serious words from such a crucial forerunner in the context, isn't it?
My brother, I disagree with you. And I'm afraid nobody can make such a claim that you want to bring the integrity of the committee into question. The committee has gotten to this stage, and especially having conducted a very successful special electoral college, because we've engaged constructively with our presidential candidate, Ghana Police Service, and the Electoral Commission. So on what basis would anybody want to conclude that somebody with a concern, his own expression, would take away the success of the conduct but want to impute issues of integrity? That will not be my position. You can also decide to take on that line. But what the committee is saying is that we are ready to engage continuously with our key stakeholders to ensure that the New Patriotic Party will elect our presidential candidate who will win the final elections come December 7th.
Is that to suggest that you're sweeping under the carpet all of these attacks that we've seen pictures attached to them? In fact, some of the candidates are bringing the persons who they allege have been attacked. We know of the Ken campaign who have done that. Also, Mr. Alan Chiramatin's agent has provided pictures to back claims that he's been attacked. Are you sweeping that under the carpet?
I think far from that. I've said to you that the committee is ready to listen to these concerns. But we will not only listen to one side and pass judgment. And I think this is the reasonable thing any serious committee would do in order to properly come into a very reasonable conclusion. And so people have raised concerns. What the committee seeks to do is to engage, and when we have a full complement of the whole story, then we can make a recommendation to the party. Mind you, this is a product of the National Council. We draw our authority from the terms of reference given to us as a Presidential Elections Committee. Concerns raised relate to elections, and it must come to us so that when we listen to both parties, we can make a recommendation to the party. And we've said that we will not hesitate to make referrals on disciplinary issues. So please allow the committee to hear people who have raised concerns, and then we can then come into proper conclusions.
Very fair then.
Jump into one-sided arrangements.
That's fair enough. And just before you take leave of us, in a minute, what then happens to the two individuals we know will be going on a runoff? Are you engaging them possibly to explore one of them stepping down so you don't have to go through the arduous task of organizing another set of elections? Is that on the table tomorrow?
All issues are being considered. The party or the Electoral Commission organized this special electoral college. We've had the first four, and the last fifth position has been a tie. We are engaging tomorrow, and on Wednesday there's going to be the National Council, National Executive Committee meeting of the party. And so we await to hear what the party will finally tell the party rank and file and the general public.
Okay, grateful for your time. That's the Director of Elections for the New Patriotic Party, Evans Nimako, joining us here on Top Story World tonight. John Dramani Mahama, the NDC's presidential candidate, appears to be interesting in watching developments relating to the New Patriotic Party's presidential race, because John Mahama equally posted that, quote, it will appear that violence has become the new normal for the New Patriotic Party in any electoral contest they are involved in, unquote. And these acts, President Mahama claims, occurred during the just ended Special Delegates Conference of the New Patriotic Party. Well, a couple of minutes ago, the General Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, Justin Kodia Frimpong, has been taking on the former president. Here's what he had to say.
Because as former president, I give him all the respect also we deserve him. But he's not being truthful to himself.
I didn't hear.
If we say, see, you can't to trust him or Ghana, a fire elections one. Or man penny John Mahama, or no one say, end this as a party. Party bien noa, yakotwaba to trust him, abem, a sing NDC abai, or NDC party. But to say, MPP party, ye yakunya, a dimi say, ye twaba to trust him, with all due respect, Papano, Wankani.
And that's the General Secretary of the governing New Patriotic Party, Justin Kodia Frimpong, on Ekosisen a couple of minutes ago, lashing out at the former President John Dramani Mahama and calling him out and his party for being champions, quote unquote, when it comes to electoral violence. I want to bring in our Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Gbande, who's joining us now. Good evening to you, sir. Many thanks for spending some time with us on Top Story. The expectation is that this is an internal exercise of the governing New Patriotic Party. Why is the NDC and by extension your flag bearer concerned about what's happening in someone else's party?
Thank you very much. Good evening to our listeners. I think the story is very brief. The NPP is at a situated point where they have lost a sense of responsibility and a sense of responsible leadership. What is very surprising is that they even refuse to learn. We have had our selection of a presidential candidate, and you are in this country. We've not recorded a single occurrence of violence. You have a government that is in power to the extent that you have one of the aspirants threatening the sitting president and the sitting vice president, who, the vice president is a candidate. So clearly what that means is that they lack sense of responsibility. We have also seen statements from Honorable Alan Kojo-Chemantin, who himself is condemning attacks on his polling agents. We have also seen videos of Honorable Kennedy Japan complaining about violence against his polling agents. So is that reality that President Mahama should not be concerned about as a former president, or the General Secretary of the MPP trying to use a disciplinary committee to whitewash violence in their election that the former president should not speak about?
But if you look at the scale of what's happening, Mustafa, the point is that the former president may have been hyping matters. He then goes ahead to remotely bringing issues relating to the Ayasu West Wugon incident, which has nothing to do with the NPP's contest.
Well, who doesn't know that Nanado is a beneficiary of blood of innocent people that have been shared? Who doesn't know?
These are unfair comments that you're passing right now because it is the EC that declared the president as the winner of the elections. You agree?
It is not about winning an election. It's about violence that characterizes election as far as the MPP is concerned. We are still having rules that we are netting on innocent citizens of this country who have died because of Nanado becoming a president with His Excellency Mahmoud Bawumia. Then they go to organize their super delegates congress. And then we are seeing violence again. You think we should not be worried about that they are simply becoming a terrorist organization, that any time they group violence precipitates? We should be concerned that the MPP's existence is a recipe of violence. Each Ghanaian should be concerned. We've had peaceful elections where at the end of those elections, innocent people have been killed till today. Justice have not been done to those people and their families. These same people go to regroup and their violence is coming up and the former president should not talk about, we are very much concerned. And that is what they should be reflecting on, that we have moved past, the dispensation where a political party should be violent when it comes to issues of governance.
Okay.
We are dealing with issues of bread and butter and the standard of living. This behavior of violence is archaic strategy, and that is what exactly the MPP does.
Oh, I see. I see. So now, even as we move into November 4, some say the roadmap is quite becoming clearer for those of you in the opposition party to at least have an idea of some of the candidates that may represent the governing NPP in the 2024 general elections. You have, for instance, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who's leading the list, winning over 60% of the confidence when it comes to the decision of the delegates. You have the likes of Alan Kojo-Tremating in there. Kennedy Ejapong is making a strong push in that race. Looking at some of the names that emerged successful after the elections over the weekend, is the NDC still confident that you would win the 2024 elections?
My brother, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's candidature is as a result of lack of conscience, because really, if he does have conscience, he will know that in the history of the Fourth Republic, he is the only vice president that has been used for the wrong reason. Number two, his candidature is a cover-up for all the wrongs of President Nana Addo. Corruption scandals, mismanagement, incompetence. The president himself admitted 3 days ago that he agrees that there are challenges, but new leadership will come and resolve those challenges. And so if you have that candidate contesting, it should be very clear that government, as far as Nana Addo controls resources, will do everything possible to make Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia the candidate or the elected flag bearer of the MPP. For us, we know that if it comes to Mahmoud Bawumia, in the first place, he should not have even picked a nomination form to contest as a running mate if he does some appraisal of himself. But again, because he's a candidate for cover-up, the MPP setup currently will make him the flag bearer. And for us, it's a good way for us to move.
I see. And I'm sure that the conversation will still continue. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. That's the Deputy General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Mustafa Gbande, wrapping up top story here on Joy 99.7 FM. I'm blessed to log on to myjoyonline.com for more stories. Next is Newsnight.